Welcome to All Abilities Network Podcast. Now, here is your host, bilingual certified life coach, advocate, and the founder of All Abilities Network, Alvaro.
Hi, and welcome to All Abilities Network Podcast. My name is Alvaro, and I'm very happy to be with you today. Before I introduce our guest today, I want to say thank you to our listeners. We have listeners in the United States, of course, in Canada, in Australia, in Europe, in Latin America, in Africa. And it's exciting to have someone like Charmaine today. Charmaine is an expert in assistive technology. She's going to tell us about, technology is great, but learning is not easy. And sometimes you find tutorials, you find information on how to use the Mac, how to use NVDA, Chromevox, and all of that stuff. It's not easy for blind people to find that information. So she has put together something very interesting and very affordable for our listeners. So she's going to tell us about that and who she is and all of that. She's from Canada, so it's going to be awesome. Thank you, Charmaine, for being with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Charmaine, so first of all, what is assistive technology?
Yeah, so assistive technology is basically any form of technology that's designed to help people with any kind of challenge, right? They could be living with blindness. They could be living with a reading challenge, any kind of challenge, a motor challenge, anything like that. So it's any device or any kind of equipment that's designed to help people, to help sort of make that experience of living with that challenge easier. So that is essentially what assistive technology is, in my terms, at least.
Now, I always wonder how experts like you learn how to use the iPhone, the Mac, NVDA, Chromebox, JAWS. How is that process?
Yeah, so everybody learns differently, of course. But when I grew up blind, and I've been blind from birth. I've been totally blind, and so I started out in the school system, and it was lucky for me, because I had a special education teacher who she worked to sort of bridge the gap between the public school system and my academic success. So she put all the tools in front of me, and said, I started out with learning Braille literacy, how to read and write by touch, using assistive technologies like Braille note takers. Then it went to JAWS and the computer for a long time. And then after that, I was handed an iPhone to sort of play with. It was one of my friends' iPhones, and I started playing around with it. But over time, I started to I'm not trained in assistive technology. I'm just somebody who has used many different tools, and I have, gone through different tutorials, usually tutorials on YouTube that I've found for sighted people, and I've tried to just filter out and make them and figure out, based on what the person is saying, how I am going to.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So you have your own business. You will correct me if I'm wrong. Accessible Learning Lounge?
Yeah, that's the name of the business now. It's the Accessible Learning Lounge. Yeah.
What is that? Tell us.
Yeah, so the Accessible Learning Lounge, you can think of it as being like a library of pre-recorded lessons. So when you go there, and you go there by just typing in accessible learning, you can just type in accessiblelearning.gumroad.com. We'll say the address again later on, but when you go there, you'll find it's like a digital web shop of pre-recorded lessons for people to come to and choose which screen reader they would like to have lessons on. I have 3 different screen readers that I offer lessons on. They are Mac with Voiceover, lessons on how to use NVDA for Windows, and then lessons on how to use Chromevox with for Chromebook. So you'll go there and you'll find many different pre-recorded lessons. It's a growing library of lessons, and they are made there for quite affordable to purchase. And they basically, those lessons are not aiming to teach you everything about how to use your computer. They're aiming to teach how to do everyday tasks that people would need to do just in a practical sense. So I've come around, I've come to, I've basically picked out what I have from experience found to be some of the most common things that a blind person would want to do, and that it would make sense for someone who's blind that, that they would want to do, like reading and writing, email, browsing. And I've put them all together in a collection of lessons. They are not courses, so there's no commitment to anything. You just come there, pick any topic you want to learn, find a lesson on it, and then they're just, lesson by lesson kind of purchasing. That's what it is.
Charmaine, if someone wants a private lesson with you, is it possible?
Yeah, so I do that on a sort of like a case by case basis. So the email address that we can say at the end of the interview, I guess, is where to reach me. And people just come, and it's been happening already. They just say to me in the email, like, hey, I don't do well with pre-recorded lessons. Can we sit on a call and learn something? And I'll say, of course. So I'll give them the rates, the hourly rates, and they'll come along and they will sit on a Zoom call. And what I'll give them is a recording of our call that they can take home with them, so that they don't have to struggle and write notes about what they learn. They let me know what they want to learn, and I'll tell them, okay, I can help with that, and then, or I can't help with that. And then they'll learn with me on this call and get help and support that way. So yes, it is possible.
Charmaine, you talk about Chromebox, right?
Yeah.
What is that?
So Chromevox is the screen reader it's basically Google's version of Voiceover. So it's built into all Chromebooks. Chromebooks are basically, I think of it as like Google's version of a Mac,
Okay.
of a MacBook. So it's a little bit more sophisticated than a tablet, but it's basically like it looks like a laptop. It's in like the shell of a laptop, but then when you open it, you're faced with like the screen of an iPad. So there will be different apps like Google Gemini, Google Chrome, and you launch your app and you work with it. But it's got it's in the body of a laptop. It's a tablet in the body of a laptop, and Chromevox is the talking software that lets you navigate with keyboard commands.
Okay. Does it have a keyboard?
Yes, it has a keyboard.
Unlike the tablets, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I like about it. It has a keyboard. If you get ones like the Chromebook Plus, it has a number pad on the right side so that you can type your numbers in. And it's really for anyone who wants to do things, who usually does things that don't require storing any files on the computer. So it's for anyone who, who wants to do really fast gaming, really fast browsing, really fast anything online, on anything that would need them to connect to the internet all the time, is that one.
Now, Charmaine, how do you compare that to the iPad?
Yeah, so the iPad, I've used both, and it's a lot more flexible than the iPad, because it has a keyboard,
right,
and it allows you to, like, if we get into, like if you think about how the Chromevox screen reader itself, you're not swiping along to find your links and headings. You're actually pressing commands to go to, you can bring up a list of all the links on a website, right? Or you can bring up a list of all the headings on a website and start finding what you're looking for. You can enter a word or a phrase that's in that is on the homepage, and just make the
Oh,
cursor jump yourself. Yeah.
how much is it?
Well, I mean, it's around. I know it's less than $1,000, and
Okay.
that's why a lot of people in the school system like it because, I mean, in Canadian terms, I think, I mean, the regular Chromebooks must be under $700, $600, but the Chromebook Plus, I used the Chromebook Plus is like around $500, $600, and and that's in Canadian terms. So maybe in US terms, it would be like, a little bit lower, and you get you get a whole computer like that.
Now, you were saying it's not for storing files. What does that mean? How much storage does it have?
Yeah, so you can sort of store files. It has like folders in there, but I
Yeah.
think it's not for like maybe for light files, like light documents, but I wouldn't
Oh,
store, yeah, like I wouldn't store like a video. So what I've done, I wouldn't store like extensive audio files or things that take up a lot of space. So
okay.
I think what I would have done is like um everybody uses or most people use cloud-based things
Oh
now,
yeah.
right? So if you've got like a Dropbox like I have, and then you just log in, then you could just access all your files from either your Dropbox or your um and it actually has like oh yeah, it's got like it runs on the Google interface, right? That's what
Right.
I forgot to say. So it has Google Docs and Google Drive and Google Sheets.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
that's why. Yeah, so everything, if you log in with a Gmail account, then it has all your stuff is there. And if you just learn to use it with Chromevox and the Google interface, then you got your Google Drive and Google Docs just, all in all in there so that there wouldn't really be much of a need for you to store files anymore.
Very interesting. Now everybody's talking about AI.
Yeah.
I would like your opinion. Where is that heading in terms of assistive technology? Because I was reading last night an interesting post from someone that knows a lot about AI, and he was saying, look, people are going to change the way they use their screen readers because screen readers are going to have incorporated certain AI elements, and it's going to be very interesting in the next few years what is going to evolve into. So, how do you see that AI revolution?
Yeah, so I've played around with AI apps and AI things. I still use screen readers a lot, but I do use the AI apps on the phones for reading text and things that a screen reader can't access. So like looking at real world things like product packaging or real world things like things around me to get access to that. But yes, I've noticed that AI has sort of already started to change the way that we access screen, like the way that blind or low vision people get access to things, get access to information. Um, they can, do a Google search like manually with just their screen reader, or they can ask their nearest AI agent, their smart speaker, or their voice assistant that lives on their phone. Um, Gemini would probably be my favorite AI now. They can just ask Gemini, like I don't know how many times I've done that, you know, already, to tell me about something, rather than me going and Googling it. And I think what it will do is this integration of AI and its ability to sort of search things is it'll make things easier for people who have just, I mean, I'm lucky enough to have been grown up blind. right? But there are people who aren't as lucky, and they have been thrown into this world of blindness for whatever reason. They get sick, something happens to them, and screen readers are too hard to understand. They don't know what it means to press tab and listen for this and that, and you know, what are links, what are headings. They are used to looking at a screen and pointing with a mouse pointer, and they don't know any different from that. So they might like the idea of opening up a voice assistant and asking it to search. But not only that, it's starting to help people. It's starting to create another form of independence where you get, like the other day, I got a device, a new little Bluetooth speaker given to me as a gift. And somebody said, here you go, this is for you. And, ever since before the integration of AI, I would have taken the box, not known what it is, waited for somebody to come and said, hey, excuse me, can you tell me what this is? Oh, and can we, when you have some time, can we walk
Right.
through it together? But this box, I took it, I kid you not, I took the phone camera and I opened Gemini and I pointed it at the box and I said, hey, Gemini, can you look at this box? Tell me what it is. She said, oh, it's a XYZ blah, blah, blah speaker. And I said, oh, this is cool. And then they said, and she said, would you like any help with it? And I opened the box. I took the speaker out. I pointed my phone's camera at the buttons. And I said, you tell me which button is which. And then I said, you know what? Do you know which model it is? She said, oh, it looks like the blah, blah, blah model. And I said, can you just tell me how to set it up? And she said, feel. And I said, by the way, I'm blind. So she said, oh, yeah, feel for the round button in the middle, press and hold that button. Oh, and by the way, you'll have to download an app. You'll hear this noise. And within 10 minutes, I'd said to my mom, oh, so-and-so gave me that speaker and it's working. Listen to here's the sound. And that was it. So it increases independence for people. And I think people are going to be able to do that more and more.
What a great example, Charmaine.
Yeah, it was amazing. I was even surprised. I even surprised myself.
Charmaine, many people are criticizing Apple's iPhone's technology in regards to AI. Some people say, okay, probably the most powerful company in the world, and they decided not to go for their own AI model, but go for Gemini. What's your take on that? What's your take on Siri being so slow in getting to the level of other Samsung and other companies doing something similar? What do you think Apple is going with AI on their iPhone?
Well, maybe they just want to have like increased access to other, like allow other players to be involved, like other tools to be involved, like Gemini and whatever else they've got going. I actually still very much like the Siri system, a lot. Because why? Because it may be slow and it may not be able to do as much as all the other things out there, but it can do actually like if you have multiple Apple devices, you can just have them all there, and then I like it because it understands what you want, provided that you're using an Apple device. So if you want to play a song and you're using an Apple device, like whatever it may be,
Right.
then it will just do it, rather than just or if you're wanting to, if you're using anything within the Apple ecosystem, it works really well, is basically what I'm trying to say. It can, if you're using the mail app for mail, then you can just send in and write your emails, get it to take a screenshot, ask it to take a screenshot, send texts, read your mail. And hey, it has everything anyways in the Apple ecosystem. So as long as you know, as long as you have picked your playground And if you're not like me who wants to just play in every single ground, then you can just decide that you want to stay in one. That's what I like about the whole AI thing in general, is that like every single one of these organizations, Google, Apple, whoever they are, has their own little home space ecosystem.
Right.
And you can just, and as long as you've picked one and you've decided, that's why I'm trying to offer screen readers for Windows and Mac, so that, and for the Chrome OS, so that people can find where they want to be and get the tools to stay in that space. And I think as long as you can stay in that space, then, and you think that you're happy with that AI that it brings. JAWS has even got AI stuff. I don't support JAWS in terms of lessons, but I did grow up on it and it's great. So yeah, it's all to each his own.
Charmaine, that thought that many people had before, saying, what should I buy, a Mac or a Windows computer? Still, that resonates with blind people. Are people confused on which one is best? And you will tell me, you know what? It's not about which is best, but which is best for you.
Yeah.
But is it a general answer that you say, you know what, Mac is better for this, Windows is better for that? Or in your opinion, it really doesn't matter that much. They are similar, they get the job done. What do you say?
Well, you hit the nail on the head, Alvaro. It is so interesting that you ask that, because that's the most common question I get. People email me with a write-up of their situation, and they say, "Hi, I'm so and so. I'm from wherever," because this is global.
Right.
I have this situation with my blindness, and you know what? I don't know what to do with myself, they say. I don't know whether to use Mac Voiceover or Chromevox. Can you help me decide? And so for a while I talked to them, and then I just analyzed their situation. And basically my general answer that I give to people all the time is like, it depends on what you want to do, and I'll help. And because Mac is good for this and Windows is good for that, so it depends on the kind of work you want to do.
Right.
And then after a while, like, they would take that away, and I found out that I wasn't giving enough information. So what I did in my, there's a tab in my web shop that says need help deciding what to learn. And when you click it, you have two solutions. If a person, it basically says there, hey, if you don't know which one to learn, there's two things you can do. One, there's a starter kit where I've put 3 lessons in it. It's a bundle of lessons that says, that is the getting started lesson for each of the screen readers. So if you don't have time or don't want to sit on a call and talk to me for an hour or half an hour and explain your situation, you can get the little starter kit and listen to your heart's content to all the different screen readers and how to get started with it. It's just 3 lessons, and they're really short. They teach how to get started with Voiceover, Chromevox, and NVDA, and then you can decide, hey, I like the sound of this, I don't like the sound of this. Or if that's too overwhelming, there's a link there that you can book a call, and it's really, you know what, it says 20 minutes, and I think it's like, what, 15 Canadian dollars, or people are saying it's, with the conversion rates, like $10 US or something. It says 20 minutes, but my point in the call is for people to come. It's not going to be 20 minutes sharp. It will be
Right.
it will be around 20 to 30 minutes, and it will be a time for you to come. It's called an initial consultation. It's for you to come and sit down and say, I don't know what to do with myself and my learning of computers, but I know I need to learn them. Can you please help me figure out which to learn? And I will say to you, hey, I have all the screen readers here. Give me a task that you want. And you don't have to say yes to this, but I'll say, give me a task that you want to do. Like, I had one guy come in and say, you know what? My job involves Excel. Tell me which tool to use. And I'll say, well, NVDA and VoiceOver does them both well. Here's what they sound like. on a call with him. Let's open a spreadsheet. And because it was recorded, he could take it home with him and listen back. And then near the end, and he's like, and I write policies, and I'm blind. I'm the director of so and so, and I write policies. And I said, okay, so here's how I gave him a feature of NVDA, because he said, I need to remember. My struggle is I'm trying to remember what I wrote at the top of the document versus at the bottom. And I'm struggling. So I said, oh, this is what you need, because NVDA has a feature called review mode where you can be writing away and keep your cursor in one spot and then move another cursor up to the top to figure out what you wrote on top. So you're not wasting brain cells trying to remember something that you shouldn't have to remember, right? So they explain their situation to me. I give them a suggestion. It's never a you should. It's a like, this is what might work for you. Try to help them come up with a little bit of a learning plan. And mostly I say, if they are okay after 30 minutes of talking to me, if they're not overwhelmed and want to leave by 5 minutes, then they will say, okay, I'm okay now, thank you. And what should I do? And I'll say, you have two choices. You can come again if you feel so inclined and sit with me, and I can hold your hand and guide you through each little whatever technology that you want to, I'll do that. But you drive. You tell me what you want to learn each time, and I'm not driving your learning. You are. Or I can say, go to this. You decided NVDA like that. I had a person, one case who said, okay, I've decided Mac with VoiceOver. My mind is set. So I'll say, okay, here's the tab of lessons. I've organized them into sections that start with, beginners and then upwards. So I said, just work through the whole page on your own time, at your own pace. And I'm here if you need it, because there is a little thing called listen and learn at the bottom where you can, if you have one question about a lesson that you've listened to, you purchase it's again, another $10 US thing where you can come and purchase a thing where you can ask questions, one question via email or phone, and then you can go on with your learning.
Wow, how smart is that? Because I was thinking it's great to have that possibility, because if you are confused and you have the two options, and the person, the instructor, the expert, I mean you, you say, okay, let me open the program and play it for you. See, what do you feel when you listen to VoiceOver doing this task? No, I don't like it. Okay, let me go for NVDA. Listen to this. And now listen to the features that they present. So Mac presents this, and NVDA presents that. And you start VoiceOver on the Mac with this, and you start NVDA with this, and you shut down this and that, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you know what? I like this one better. Okay, start with that. That's great. That's a very smart way of teaching, in my view, Charmaine.
Thanks.
Now, Charmaine, in a personal choice, if you had to choose, would you be able to choose between those three systems, Chromebox, Mac, or NVDA, and say, you know what, I prefer mostly this one, or it's impossible for you to choose?
Well, it used to be impossible, and I used to like them all. Because I have a passion for technology, and
Right.
anything that has buttons on it that makes noises, I'm into it. Yeah, it can be anything. It can be, when I was a kid, it was toys, rattle toys, talking bears, where you'd press a button and it was a teddy bear and you could press a button and it would talk, it would read a story. I was amused by that. So anything that talks and makes some form of a noise, I'll play with it. But now I like NVDA for Windows, just because I found that if you connect it with a Braille display, and I offer sort of support on how to use it with a Braille display because I'm a Braille user, you can, I find that it's faster to move around. But really, it depends on, like I need to do a lot of work with organizing people coming into my lessons and writing things up. And the focus of the screen reader, the keyboard focus, doesn't move at all with NVDA. But people will find maybe that when they use their Mac with VoiceOver, that the keyboard focus, and it does this a little bit with Chromevox too, is that you're typing, and sometimes if you're not really good with keeping your keyboard focused where it is, it might move a little bit.
Okay.
So you'll have to move it back sometimes to get back to your spot, and there are commands for that, and I sort of teach workarounds like that. But if you want a system that keeps that lets you access everything, in terms of like, if I were to pick one that does it all, it would be NVDA and Windows, because the other ones are still being developed and they haven't been around for long. NVDA was built by a couple of blind people in Australia, a couple of
Right.
blind people who are developers who took the time to build it. And I think that's why it's really great, because they built it on the assumption that, that blind people, like, it was going to be the screen reader for blind people to use on their computer. And
Right.
it's a lot intuitive. It's very intuitive and very easy to use. And so I really like it. But before I used that, I was very happy with VoiceOver on the Mac. I was happy, getting things done on it. But yeah, like it only, there are access limitations to that. But if you want to be able to access like Microsoft Office and internet and, without any kind of limitations, it would be NVDA and Windows, because it can even help you get access to buttons within dialog boxes that tabbing and arrow keys cannot get you to. So there are ways to really click on little hidden buttons within toolbars. You can get access in a more detailed way if you use that.
Charmaine, I like to ask everything, anything.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
I'm gonna ask you something, and is that I'm just curious for our
Sure.
listeners.
Yeah.
Such a great teacher like yourself,
Yeah.
because I really like your style, I have to say.
Mhm. Thanks.
Why not JAWS at this point? And let me tell you something. I see many people a little bit saying, you know what, JAWS was number one, or maybe was the only one for Windows. Now NVDA has done so much. It's totally free. Now I have this thought, Charmaine, and is that some organizations in the United States say, look, if you are using NVDA, we are not going to hire you, only because NVDA is open source, and we might have security issues with that. So we have an agreement with JAWS, with Freedom Scientific, or Vispero, I believe is the name now.
Yeah.
So I want your opinion on why not doing pre-recorded lessons on JAWS, and what do you say about open source versus not open source?
Well, I think every screen reader has its own pros and cons, right? But I'll get to your first question first. The pre-recorded lessons on JAWS, the idea has rolled around in my head for pre-recorded lessons on JAWS for a while.
Okay.
I mean, I did grow up on it. I did
Right.
use it to study. I did use it quite a bit. But I began to find that more and more people, there's already quite a lot of resources out there that
That's
are
true.
pre-recorded in and of itself. Freedom Scientific has done, or Vispero has done a great job in
Yeah.
providing lessons basically within the software itself, that I wouldn't actually have anything more to add in terms of making my own lessons. And I
Good
thought,
point.
yeah, and I also thought that, and so that's one reason, but the other one would be that, you know, yes, employers might require people to use JAWS because of hiring reasons, but usually those who get hired are already sort of familiar with JAWS. At least the members of our blind and low vision community that I've seen that
Right.
get picked for jobs already know pretty much a lot about how to use JAWS, or if not, are proficient in knowing how to get it. That they are more than able already to find what they're looking for. And so my hope is to, I think the motto for my little shop is to give people the tools, free tools out of the box, free, and this will get to your next question, free and open source tools out of the box that they can use so that the majority of people, and I'm one of them, who can't afford a JAWS subscription and what it has become, a
Right.
home user all on their own, so that they don't feel like, because there's way more people in that crowd that I've heard of already who are new to the world of blindness, who think that JAWS is the only option and who worry that they're not able to get themselves a subscription, and they don't know that there are equivalents out there like Chromevox is coming close, and NVDA and Mac with VoiceOver that can do more than enough. Someone came to me and said, someone said I need JAWS, and I said, no, no, no. It's like a Ferrari car versus a typical car that you can buy. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles like NVDA, but it's more than enough to do. If you want something easy and you want something easy to learn and easier to pick up, easier to understand, it would be the common item, versus the fancy car, which is JAWS. I used it for a lot of when I worked at jobs before that called for JAWS. I used it quite a bit, but it has its own strengths. But open source has come a long way, and the thing I like about open source screen readers is that they help, they give people a chance to have input in, like NVDA has a bunch of add-ons, and it's
Right.
ways for people to get their voices in, to make it so that it's not just a screen reader that somebody else has created. It's a screen reader that's been created for people in the community who are the users of the screen readers themselves. And so it's kind of like my approach in my little shop. Mine is not open source, but I do value people who come in and tell me their situation. And like I try to be as flexible as possible, because I was telling you before we started this call or this interview, that I made this to help people because I
Right.
noticed there was a need, for people who said, hey, I need help with so and so, and I don't know how to use this and this on the Mac with VoiceOver, which is where all this started. It used to be called the VoiceOver Learning Lounge, based on a video that's still up on YouTube. It was meant to help users like myself. I wanted a place for people to come, find the screen reader that they want to learn, and not feel like, oh my God, I have to go find a trainer and then I have to, just think of what you want to learn. Chances are it'll be there, and find it and learn at your own time.
Charmaine, my last question before I let you go is related to, many people are doing podcasting these days. And some people say the Mac is unbeatable. It has everything to do audio editing and all of that. Windows is kind of, you have Audacity, or you can get Reaper, or you can get other programs. Do you have any suggestions for blind podcasters? Which one would be better for them?
Well, the only thing that I've played around with so far, actually, to be quite honest, is Audacity. I've played around with Reaper and other things briefly, but the only thing that I've played around with more extensively and used for audio editing is Audacity. I am just starting. I am nowhere near an expert in terms of audio editing, but I am just starting to learn the magic of how to edit recordings and cut out parts and very basic stuff. But I would say Audacity on NVDA and Mac are, but I think I'm starting to just kind of find that using Audacity on NVDA and Windows is more precise in terms of when you want to just cut out the part that you don't want out of your audio, or paste something in, or join tracks together. That seems to be the nice and simple tool that I use. But again, that's coming from somebody who's just started in the editing landscape.
Right. All right, Charmaine. So how can people find you and get your classes and get in touch with you?
Yeah, so the best way is you can just open up any browser and type in accessiblelearning.gumroad.com. So it's accessible learning, just like how it sounds, and then .gumroad.com. And then when you open that, there will come a page called Charmaine from the Accessible Learning Lounge. There'll be 3 tabs for you to choose from, which screen reader you want to use. And if you want to listen to samples of lessons first before you decide, hey, I want to start learning and get serious about it, then you can just Google or YouTube the Accessible Learning Lounge, and it will bring you to a podcast called the Voiceover Learning Lounge. This was the name of the shop that I called it initially, because I only offered Mac with Voiceover. It was where all this started. So you'll find episodes on that, click on those, listen to those, and think that if you like the sound of that, then more will be elaborated at the Accessible Learning Shop. And if you can't find anything, and if finding is really not your thing and you don't want to spend time searching, you can email volearninglounge@gmail.com. So again, it's V as in very good, and then O, and then learninglounge@gmail.com. And then I will always answer pretty quickly. And you can just tell me what you're looking for. Is it guided lessons? Is it confusion about what to learn, how to learn, which to start with? Because again, I built this for the community of blind and low vision people. So it's my hope that anybody who comes will find something that speaks to them, and find something that they feel like if I, most people come to my shop with a problem that they want to solve, whether it be I need to learn to use my computer to get back to work, or I need to use my computer for this and that. And my hope is that if I can solve one of your small computer problems, so to speak, that you've been having for a while, then it'll make what I'm doing worthwhile. It'll be the purpose of why I do what I do.
Charmaine is very fast with emails. Trust me, I know.
Yeah.
Charmaine, you are very good, I have to say.
Thanks.
I truly appreciate your time, your expertise. Obviously, we'll have a link to your YouTube channel, to your website, to everything, so people can find it easy. And what can I say? Thank you so much, Charmaine, for your expertise, and we'll be in touch. You can be sure of that, Charmaine.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alvaro. I hope that your listeners have found this interesting, and thank you so much again for letting me share my story and the story of the Learning Lounge.
It's my pleasure, and for our listeners, remember to subscribe and share our episodes on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. And if you want to be on the show, you can email me at allabilitiesnet@gmail.com. This is Alvaro from All Abilities Network Podcast saying goodbye.